Hey everybody, I'm Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. What's happening? Been a I got here. Been a hot minute since we were together last. What have I got on my beard? No, that's just a dark patch. How awful is that? Well, good to see everybody. DS Kitty, how are you? Chase the Heat would be my brother Johnny. Just Joan, good to see you. Block A Anderson, what's happening? How are you? Tampa B, good to see you. Haley, what's happening? AVAC, glad that you're here. You know what, people? This is going to be fun. Pamela Moreau, this is kind of a disturbing story, people. And you know something? It's going to sound a little bit like Diddy. I'm going to be honest with you. It really is. That's not what it sounded like. Sorry, it was a pen I got for Christmas. Absolutely horrible, but I had to whip that out. Incarnate Soul, good to see you. Meredith Lynn, how are you? Glad that you are here. Pamela, Nicola, humble and kind, good to see you. Laura, what's happening? Miss Sunrise Dawn, David Clark, good to see you. Mother Bird, Helena, flock of swan boats. You won't believe what I have in the other room. Mary Duffy, good to see you. Deanna Downey, what's happening? Incarnate Soul, Dragon Mad, aye, Dragon Mad, you say. True Crime Nut, good to see you. Boodakaboo, what's happening? Danette McClure, you may know her from such classics as I Am Doing Well. Yvette, good to see you. Darkly Noon, what's happening? Tremedy, Lisa Trimble, hey Lisa. Caroline in Canada, good to see you. Shannon Trim, how you been? Day Mama never said what's up. MP, how are you? Kathy Ann, welcome. Glad to have you. Kathy Ann, extraordinary wrench. David Clark, good to see you. The cat lady from the country. I like you already. I like you already. Diane Reese, good to see you. Leanne, what's up? Tommy Bird, great to see you, Tommy Bird. Hope your holidays are as good as they can possibly be. Auntie KK, how are you? Hey, Janet, let's get this thing underway, shall we? Annika's mom, good to see you. We won't be burying leads. Janet, how are you? There are three brothers that came from a family that started to make a hell of a lot of money in real estate. Dad owns a stinkingly wealthy joint in Ball Harbor. And these guys got into high-end real estate, the disgusting kind of high-end real estate, the kind of real estate that very few people on planet Earth can afford. I don't even mean the one percenters, man. These are the one percenters of the one percenters. These are the kind of people that spend money, 60 million on a home, 70 million. Well, people like Sean Combs and Sean Carter, those kind of cats can afford property like this. These three brothers, all last named Alexander, are from South Florida. And two are twins. What I found kind of odd was one's name is Oren, one's name is Tal. I'm trying to remember the other one's name. But Oren and Tal, that's Orenthal. Orenthal James Simpson. Guy must have been a big OJ fan. Hey, back. I am back. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Kristen M., how are you? Mickey King, good to have you. So here's what's up. Christy Anise, good to see you, Christy Anise. So here's what's up with this. Here's why I'm talking about it. Cat Williams said 2024 is going to be the year when all is exposed. Feel me? Everything that is going to be exposed in this year. And he's talked about Diddy. He talked about TD Jakes. He mentioned these gentlemen by name. But we're seeing Sean Carter get dragged into this. And now, people, these three guys out of Florida are accused of doing exactly what Diddy is accused of. I mean, literally, he is accused of throwing large gatherings and parties. He's accused of bringing vulnerable women into situations where he can ply them with alcohol that is jacked with stuff like gamma hydroxybutyric acid, G, right? GHB. Same stuff, allegedly, that Diddy had 1,000 bottles of in his bathroom when his house got raided back in March. Now, there are a lot of people, right, even people that were close to the Diddy camp, who allege that not all that was through personal use, that this cat was slinging a lot of this stuff, that it was very expensive to buy a bottle of this in this day and age. And, having 1,000 bottles of them laying around, this was a business venture. If it is, let your brain go for a walk here. Because I'm not saying that this happened. You hear me? I'm not. But you got to pick up this stuff somewhere. If these three skeezy brothers have been doing this for a couple of decades, what are the odds that they're getting their G someplace other than the diddler? I mean, not necessarily buying it from him, but you got to be picking this stuff up in quantity. I would imagine if you're both living in South Florida and hanging out in New York, there's a decent chance that you might have been buying this stuff from the same people, or maybe he's buying it directly from the diddler. There are so many overlaps in this, right? They threw great, big, huge parties in where? The Hamptons, for one spot. Huge parties, 4th of July parties, other gatherings out in the Hamptons. And there are text messages that are disturbing as hell with these brothers talking about, how many do you think we need to bring for this? Well, why don't you bring all 4 of them? Should we hire somebody to get some girls? Nah, because then you get girls that aren't fun or that don't meet up to our standards. Let's bring the ones that we all know are going to be a good time. And then we will give them G and assault them. And in another series of messages, they were arguing, literally arguing about who was going to have an opportunity to R-word this girl first. This stuff's heavy, man. This stuff is heavy. By the way, this isn't Diddy. I know that the logical thing is, ooh, Diddy's in trouble and he is telling. But the problem with that is, these guys, this has been going on for a hell of a long time. We're hearing about it right now. But the first allegations of this came out a long, long time ago. As always, brave women who came forward in the face of knowing that these people are massively wealthy, massively powerful, own a huge towering office building. I mean, this is a scary group of guys. Now, they're Jewish Americans. As you know, I don't give a crap about any of that kind of identity stuff. I'm not into it. However, it's worth mentioning. And the reason it's worth mentioning is because Israel is notoriously crappy about extradition if the people in there happen to be Israeli. Now, if you're a Jew, they're not going to let the United States of America come in and get you if you're facing a life sentence. Plain and simple. It's happened in the past. And that is going to play a hand in this because, as we know, people like to get out on bail, right? And hey, now we got 3 white guys that are trying to get out on bail with charges of what? Human T. Yeah. Same charge as the diddler. You think these guys are going to get out? You're going to hear people crying. If that had been a white dude, they've been saying this for a long time. Well, here's your proof. Because one white dude yesterday offered $115 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $115 million to get out for one of the 3 brothers. And of course, the federal government said, not going to happen. You can be extradited to MDC Brooklyn. These guys got hemmed up in Florida. Now, by the way, they're also facing state charges where they bailed out. 2 of the brothers already bailed out in the state. That doesn't mean they can leave. They bailed to the Fed part. Now, when they go in front of the federal magistrate, they can say, hey, we're already bailed out in the state, right? We've already made that step. So it was the first of the process. Guess what? They ain't getting out. Not going to happen. Not with the allegations against these guys and not with Sean Combs sitting in MDC Brooklyn. These guys are going to probably be in the same unit as the diddler. No joke, right? If you look at the pictures of these guys in the press, you're going to see that one of them is wearing green and one of them is wearing red in the shot that you continually see over and over again. The reason one is wearing green is because he must have said, I don't want to live anymore after they arrested him. Or he said something like, I swear to God, if you don't do this, this, or this, I'm going to, you know what, myself? Because all you got to do is say something silly like that once. And they go, oh, okay. And then a couple of guys come and get you and they throw a dress in the room and say, put that on. The dress has got Velcro at the top, down the sides. You can't twist it so that you could try to do any damage to yourself with it. My back is okay. To be honest, my back is not great. My girlfriend gave me a hell of a rub down, which actually went to help a little bit on the lower back. So I appreciate that. But yeah, here's the deal. Just need Florida to not bail? No. So here's the deal on this one. Florida can go ahead and bail them all they want because what we have here are 2 parallel things running at the same time. These gentlemen, 2 of the 3 are charged in the state of Texas. In the state of Florida with R-word, state crime. R-word is a state crime, not a Fed crime. You understand? Human T, which is what the other big indictment is, that's a federal crime. So they're facing federal indictments, and 2 of the 3 are facing state indictments. Now, those state indictments, they went into court and bailed out. They've already done it. The court set a bail, $2 million or something like that. They went in, cashed that out. Dad's rich, they're rich. They went in and cashed out a couple of million. They're already bailed out in the state of Florida. That's a wrap. Now what's going to happen is the federal government is going to extradite those boys from Florida to New York, where they're going to be dropped into MDC Brooklyn. And I want to tell you something, optics are a big deal. And for the federal government, there's no chance these boys are getting out. Same charges as Diddy. You just turned Diddy down for the same thing. You're going to let the white guys go? I don't think so. I don't see that happening. Precedents got set a week ago. You don't let these lowlives out. Their crimes are too foul. By the way, as of the filing of this 3 days ago, they were alleging 40 ladies that already have said that this has happened. Since they found out that the bad people aren't around anymore to hurt them, other people are coming forward, and with speed. There's a lot of people that are going to come out of the woodwork on this, exactly like Diddy. Now, how many similarities have we got between this and the Diddy case? Well, the same substances. Odd, too, because one of those substances was psilocybin mushrooms. Now, that's not normally considered the kind of substance that you would want around anything of this type, right? You don't want stimulants. What they're trying to do is incapacitate people. Stimulants are given to people to keep them from getting incapacitated, right? Now, this is not a stimulant. It's a hallucinogenic, but it's not going to take you down. People on fungus don't like falling asleep. It's a very difficult thing to make your brain check out while you're tripping your nuts off. It's just that simple. So it seemed very odd to me, right, that this was listed even on the Diddy stuff. But now for it to be listed again. So the substances that got listed are very similar. You've got Florida, you've got New York, you've got wildly high-end real estate. You've got these people partying, throwing massive parties that are catered, these huge events where a lot of these things allegedly happened, right? It's the exact same stuff. Now, it's alleged that these three brothers were all in on this in cahoots and that this is what they do for grins. This is how they spend their massive wealth. This is a recurring theme. Rich people who say, you know what, it's just not enough to have a Ferrari and have the ability to bed down any girl who looks like she stepped off the pages of Playboy. What I really want is to dominate somebody against their will. What I want is to steal somebody's ability to say no. This is a recurring theme. And this human tea thing, how many times are we going to hear this? By the way, Southern District of New York, Southern District of New York, Hamptons, Florida, New York, everything is running parallel with these. These cases look so similar. It's incredible. Now, are there subtle differences? There are, but they're subtle. I promise you. Now, the biggest difference is the RICO charges. But these guys it's alleged that these guys were teeing women. You know, that's an excellent point, right? This is the logical thought, isn't it? Right? This is really an excellent, I think that this is astute. Yeah, for real. Maybe the fungus was to keep the perps going, to have that experience be more intense or more whatever. That's a possibility. But if that's the case, the odds that two groups of people decide that that's a great idea seems odd, unless maybe they are in cahoots. And I know that there are people that are going to be tearing this thing apart, looking for if there's no similarity whatsoever. There are a million similarities. If these guys don't know each other, it doesn't matter because what they're doing is identical. And this is going to give you an idea of how twisted the society is. Now I got something for you. Huh? How about a bone? When this show's over, I'm going to be going on another show called Relatable Reese, right? This is my girlfriend's channel. And most of you know it. Not everybody does. If you got a wrench, would you please put the link up to Relatable Reese? You can also hit subscribe over there. It'll save you some time. Hit the bell for notification. You'll know when we're talking about a sex cult that's been going on a hell of a lot longer than any of these. I am tripped out absolutely completely after spending a weekend watching how this really goes down. The Royal Order of Jesters in Vegas, my girl and I went out, and we were going to do a little Temu recon, some low rent reconnaissance. And I will not begin to tell you how these people freaked out about it. Quibs, say hello.
It's fairly large, everybody, and I think you're going to want to come watch.
It's creepy, peeps. It's
this
really
was
creepy.
One of the worst experiences I would say we had out of all of it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
In a good way. It was exciting.
It was definitely exciting. It was also creepy. It got my heart going because, as you know, I'm a convict. And when cops show up, you know what I mean? Even if I'm not doing anything wrong, and I wasn't. Great reference, Johnny Scoville. I was shocked, Cotton. My heart was going at about 7,000 miles an hour. But I'm going to give you all this on the Relatable Re-Show. The point is this: 2024 is the year that it comes out. There are sex cults in the United States that have been running successfully as a RICO gig. I promise you, look at it and tell me it's anything other than RICO. And they have been operating out in our face for 100 years. We have congressmen in this group right now on the floor of our hallowed halls who are members of this sex cult. There are judges and lawyers and cops. Creepy stuff. But we'll get to that on the other channel. This is the year, people, where all of this scumbaggery starts getting called out. This is it. We farted around with this a little bit. You know, a lot of people on the that have been on the boat for a long period of time have seen us talk about these subjects, right? Especially the Royal Order of Jesters. The difference is this. Wharton Thistle, good to see you, brother. The difference is this. Now we've actually gotten a very, very different view of this. A very different view of this. And they've gone ahead and pissed off a Scoville, which is terrible because then you piss off two Scovilles. That's a lock, right? You whoop my butt and my brother's, but probably not the two of us. What does RICO mean? Well, that's a hell of a question. RICO is a type of charge that we use in the United States to go after people when there is an organization that is all committing crime. Let's say you're the godfather, right, of a crime family, and you order some person in your organization, some capo, right, down the line to go bump someone off. Well, that person gets caught. He goes, the guy that ordered the hit gets to live a free life because these guys keep their mouths shut. They came up with the idea of RICO. So if you have a racketeering influenced corrupt organization, that's the acronym. What are the rackets? Rackets are gambling, prostitution, drug dealing. These are the rackets, right? Well, what if there are companies like this Royal Order of Justice stuff? This is a traveling whorehouse gambling show. Well, gambling is a racket. Prostitution is a racket. Drugs are a racket. All three there at every single weekend event. But we'll talk about that. This is the year, folks, that all of it comes out. You know why? Because we are the iceberg. For real. This crap show that is the abuse of people systematically by the rich. Any other way to put it? I'm not trying to be a dick, but all of these people are being abused by hellaciously rich people. 3 times so far this year. We got the guy from Abercrombie and Fitch, right? We got Diddy. Those are 2 massive rich people that have been victimizing people that just want to be successful in a chosen field, right? Sean Carter, allegedly. Did you get that, Jay? Allegedly. He's involved in this as well. A lot of smoke. A lot of smoke. Doesn't mean there's fire. It doesn't. But there's a hell of a lot of smoke. Amazingly, Squirrel does not shy away from quibs, which was really, really odd. Oh, wow. This is a good one. Isn't it? And I'll tell you why it's bigger. I'll tell you why it's bigger. Because we're not going after, this is different. This time, you know what Me Too did? It picked off bad actors. The Me Too movement picked off bad actors. Harvey Weinstein is a bad actor. He is now, locked up. The guy from the morning show, the one that Tom Cruise loved so much. What was his name? Johnny Scoville, help me out. Who's the guy that freaked out on, that Tom Cruise freaked out on the morning show? Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer got picked off by the Me Too movement. He's a bad actor. He was doing bad things. He's gone, right? But it didn't stop what was happening. This literally is systematic. And it's systematic in an industry where somebody can say to you, yes, you're going to be famous and rich. Or no, you're not going to be famous and rich. Because apparently, no matter what it is you're trying to be famous and rich at, If somebody gives you that choice, it comes with a, oh, by the way, I get to sodomize you. It's rugged. It's rugged, but this is what's being alleged. 3 more people have come forward to allege that Diddy assaulted them. All of them men, all of them underage, and all of them coming from a different lawyer. And I called that, didn't I? I said, wait, there'll be more Busbys, and they won't be bringing one at a time. There will be new lawyers who see what Busby's doing, and they're going to. Now, are all of these going to come out to be real? I'll just be honest, right? One of the cases is somebody that used to be a bodyguard for him. It's never been alleged that Diddy went after anybody that actually worked for him. It always seems to be that he picked off people. Now, doesn't mean that he didn't get someone that worked for him, but we're going to see people that start to kind of break from the traditions. And we're also going to see some that are reinforced. And the filing dates on these 2 things are interesting. But there is you remember how the girl alleged that Diddy said, oh, look at her, she's ready to party? That's what one of the other lawsuits is alleged as well, that this person said, you want an Amazon assistant with the voice of Johnny Scoville? I have that. I really do. Dead Cell says, I have never been so happy to be poor and insignificant. Well, I get it. Here's the thing, though, people. We are no longer insignificant. You hear me? Knowledge is power. We know. If all you watch is The Lifeboat, Nickelodeon was riding roughshod over every kid that went through that meat grinder, right, for the percentage of the 90s. Some hellacious books come out, a lot of accusations. That Dan Snyder dude, good guy. How's he not pushing a broom down a cell block is a really interesting question. But Nickelodeon, who, by the way, changed their symbol while he was there to a foot because he had a foot fetish. Not the normal type of foot fetish. Allegedly, he had a little kid foot fetish. Money shot after money shot after money shot of drinks, pens, shampoo, whatever it was, exploding in a prepubescent girl's face. This was a sick bastard. And this went on for Nickelodeon. We know about it. We did shows on it. Everybody's done shows on it. Now we know the music industry. Harvey Weinstein had, right? And he wasn't the only one. We know that, right? No one's dumb enough to think that was the only cat with a casting couch. He was just the loudest ass with a casting couch. I did a show and I said, this ship is sinking. Talking about Hollywood, talking about the entertainment industry, talking about all of it. And someone said, yeah, who's going to sink it? We are. No joke. If you don't see this, I apologize, but we're the iceberg. We as a society, and I'm talking about worldwide, we're tired of thinking that because somebody can stand on a spot where they put a piece of tape, right, and memorize 1 day's worth of lines and then go home and do it all again, that makes them some other kind of special. Why? They're royalty. Look at the people that walk the red carpet. People buy popcorn and have parties to see what they're wearing. You know what? That's going to stop. I promise you it is. And I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just telling you it's going to stop. People aren't going to put up with this garbage anymore. So you're telling me the people that I loved as artists had to get sodomized for me to enjoy that film? Or the people whose music that I listen to that I love may not actually even be worth it? Crap. You got somebody writing their stuff. You got auto-tune and echo chamber and 15 different people producing. And the only reason that person's there is because you could manipulate them and make sure that if they made $100 million, they only got to keep 10. Quibbs was showing me an attorney that she follows online who talks about divorce. And he is the divorce attorney to the ultra rich and famous. And he said, it's astounding how many of those people aren't ultra rich and famous. Actors, right? Musicians. It's front, right? These guys got a front to look as good as they do. Why? Because they're a brand. It's part of the image. Why do you think Sean Carter is going on a full court assault against this Busby fella? Why is he, the lady doth protest too much? Why is he freaking out as hard as he is? Why? Because it isn't alleged that he did this with it says, and I'm not talking about what Busby wrote. I'm talking about old Jay-Z's response. He was accused of multiples. This is only one we heard of. He's been accused of this by both sexes, allegedly, but that it's alleged in his own letter. That's what Jay-Z wrote in his little fire off back. This wasn't the only one. So he's got to go hard. He's got to make this about the attorneys. This is war, right? You didn't hear him say, I didn't touch that 13-year-old. That would have been a pretty logical thing to say. I never touched that. You know, no, he went on the, let's talk about this attorney. This guy's not a Marine. Lousy job of saying it wasn't me. You got to do better. In fact, yeah, you know what, the bed. This is the year, people. We are the iceberg. Are you going to continue? I promise you, no joke, I will never watch anything that comes out of Hollywood again as long as I live. It's easy for me. I can't really watch it anyway. But I wouldn't listen to it. I wouldn't pay for a ticket for it. And I was telling someone the other day, man, I'm not listening to new music. I will absolutely support independent musicians who are making music on their own and are doing it without labels. You got my vote, man. I promise you. I'm checking out your music. You're an independent artist. I'm checking out your stuff. We can disassemble this. We can make this stop even if the courts don't. But the courts are gonna. Now, here's the sad part. Keep it real. We're not going to get the guy behind the curtain. We're not going to see who the great Oz is because this all starts to stink. It's way too connected. When the Abercrombie and Fitch thing happened, and we're looking at the two of them going, I don't know, man. This does smell a lot like Diddy, doesn't it? Huh? Does this smell like Diddy to you? Well, it starts really looking like that. And you go, could Diddy have ratted on this guy? No, because that's been going for a long time. There are how many of these investigations are going on right now? A week ago, we didn't know about the Alexanders. But 7 months ago, there were people that did. They've been filing on these guys for a long time. This snowball's been building. And guess what? We ain't seen the tip of yon iceberg. It's about to get really ugly with these boys because when this many people come forward, there is safety in numbers. And the people who are victims start to become survivors. When they realize that they're not the only one out there that this happened to, when they realize that this was systematic and that they were victims of losers, they're going to come forward. And we're going to see all kinds of stuff come out that's going to start to tie all of this stuff together. I promise you it's going to. I promise you it's going to. You do see the smoke. I'm not a paranoid dude wearing a tinfoil hat. You see this, right? You think the Hamptons are 400 miles? The Hamptons are not a huge town. They're huge homes. I'd be really surprised if these people didn't show up at a Diddy party or Diddy didn't show up at one of theirs. Rich, massive real estate people that share locations in the same part of the world. Where do you think in the new case, the Alexander case, they're texting each other and they say, should we use people to find the talent, the girls to bring in? Should we use people or should we do it on our own? Who do you think they're using? Right? How do you find them? Who do you pay to go find victims for you? I don't know, but I'll bet there's not 100 people that do that for a living. I wouldn't be surprised if Diddy paid the same people. Would you? Absolutely 100% true. Yeah, I am all about bankrupting the NFL too. No joke. Absolutely about bankrupting the NFL. But on the bright side, no lie, the last NFL football game I watched was the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning when he played his last Super Bowl. I've not watched the game since. I started boycotting them for other reasons, but I agree. There's no reason not to kick it with it, for real. Pimps, you're damn right, Sean. Well played. There is a question about the 13-year-old story. Absolutely. There are multiple questions about this girl's story. But what you got to remember is this. She was 13. She was given a pretty rowdy substance and then violently assaulted by two people, if the allegations are true, right? I have said this. I will continue to say this until this girl is proven to be a liar. I'm going to assume that this happened to her. What this is going to put her through, and the lawyers drill you on this stuff. They sit down and tell you how bad this is going to be for you. And most of these people have watched it happen to other women. She knows what she's about to step into. ultimate feces storm that is going to be her life once this starts to go. There's a lot of odd stuff about this person. I cannot believe Busby let this person go on and do an interview. That to me staggers the imagination. There's a lot about this girl that smells wrong. Nevertheless, I'm going with this until, just like Misha, I don't believe anything Misha says anymore. But not because I decided not to believe anything. Misha has demonstrated that there's way too many untruths. I can easily chalk up some of the inconsistencies with this girl's story with, add in this: you're 13 years old, you lied to get out of the house. You're doing a substance you've never done before in your life, and you're also getting SA'd by multiple people. This is a traumatic event, and there are a lot of years that go by. For a lot of people, these kind of traumatic events focus your memory in a way that makes it so you can remember the smells, the tastes, everything. I mean, perfectly. Throw in gamma hydroxybutyrate, and what you get is a patchwork quilt of memories that are incredibly vivid and perfect, and blocks of time that are gone. It makes for a tough story, and I think you got to keep a bit of that in mind. Maybe default onto the side of being a halfway decent person. And I'm not saying you're not, you know what I mean? Because you're right, there's a ton of problems with this person's story. But I think we all kind of got to. Tommy, I still don't understand. If they squirted the laced baby oil on people, why weren't they affected by it? Well, here's the thing. I'm not 100% convinced that the baby oil that's getting squirted on these people is how that the people were getting drugged. Don't know the answer to that. I think that more than likely this stuff got in drinks almost all the time. There were those massage tables at Diddy parties. You can see them. If you go Getty Images and start looking at white parties and other parties, you will see them set up like a 6-pack of them in a row, because they had people there that, but a rubber glove would do a pretty decent job, and then sort of wipe the stuff down. There's this, if you read about, I can't remember the name of the stuff you have to add to it so that it goes quickly through the skin. But there are, it's a great question. And it's one that continues to come up. I am more inclined to believe that the vast majority of this stuff was put into people's drinks. I do. I think that that's probably the vast majority of it. Also, here's the other thing. If you do G every day, like if you do G for any length of time, you would not believe the tolerance you'll build up to it. So, I mean, if he's doing these freak offs and every single time he's messing with people, it could be one of those situations where it's not going to get to them in any way like it's going to get to the others. Would her being autistic? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. That's an excellent question, but I don't know the answer to that. Did you miss what happened in Vegas? What happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas, people. Don't trip. In 1 hour from now, I am going to be not even 10 minutes after the hour of here where I'm at, here on California time, about 1:10. I'm going to be going live with my girl. It's going to be on Relatable Risk. If you got a wrench, can you throw up another link to that, please? Russ Allen says, Tommy, even after all these years, I still remember being trapped in my Boy Scout, in my Boy Scout case. A lot comes and goes after 45 years. Damn straight. For those who don't know, Russ is one of the people that is suing the Boy Scouts for some of the tomfoolery and crappy stuff that has gone on with that organization. And it's difficult under the best of circumstances. It is difficult. I've talked about this many times on the Lifeboat. Memories that I have that are just not right. Not because I'm being dishonest, because it's literally just worthless memories, right? It's silly stuff. But I have a very distinct memory that I know for a fact didn't happen. And it's a bizarre thing. But when you add in drugs and you add in a lot of other stuff, what I believe is these people are really suffering with the kind of the aftershock that this does to a human being. I don't think any of us, even a lot of us who have been through it, couldn't necessarily. It's like someone who has cancer saying, "Oh, I know what you're going through." No, you don't. Right? Every person fights this stuff differently. Trauma is not one size fits all. It's amazing how some people bounce back like that, and some people take very, very long periods of time, and some people just learn to live with it and don't bounce back. That's the reality. And I don't think we can judge people by how they react to things, that's a crappy road to start going down. It really is, especially because of the kind of subject matter that we're talking about, right? A 13-year-old girl being essayed by two grown men, right? While the room spins and she can't control her body. Maybe a little bit of grace in terms of her memory not being quite as good as mine, yours, or anybody else's is a pretty frightening thing, in my opinion. We gotta be careful, people. It's 2024. Let's err on the side of being a good human being and always sort of err on that side. Is G similar to ketamine? Kind of. They're kind of similar in that both are very, very. Yeah, you know what? Yes and no. So ketamine is an analog of PCP, and it is used very often in like surgical suites and stuff for knocking people out. So you absolutely can knock somebody out with ketamine in a large doses. It's less predictable. It's kind of dangerous, and the thing with G is G comes on quicker than anything I've ever done. It is astounding at how fast that substance gets into your body. And I think that's probably the reason it was the go-to, the go-to substance. K-hole is a phenomenon that you get with ketamine where you feel like you're laying at the bottom of a well, or you take a pair of binoculars and you turn it backwards and you get that tunnel vision. So you look like everything kind of goes black around the periphery. That happens a lot with ketamine. It's really kind of a frightening thing. Yeah. In high quality, in high quantities, sorry, peeps. In high quantities, both ketamine and gamma hydroxybutyrate are going to leave you with that kind of a sensation where 1 minute you're there, the next minute you're next. The slight difference, in my opinion, having done both of these substances before, is that with GHB, you're very conscious of what's going on. It's just that your ability, it gets, I remember being on a couch, not being able to get off of it. I was in my home, I was alone, but could not get up off of the couch. I used to take the stuff to try to fight insomnia. And I remember being on the couch, being awake, and just wanting to go to my bedroom and not having any ability to do it. Frightening. Interesting, right? Do you think the mule basketball player knows the whole operation or network? If so, Diddy is done. Bill Herrera is speaking to the drug mule. This guy was picked up the day of the raids. He was allegedly on a Diddy plane when he got picked up, and he had some drugs, some other stuff. Ralph says done a lot of K. I've done a decent amount of it. I've done more G than I've done ketamine. I didn't like that feeling of ketamine, and I did G to go to sleep. I really struggled for a long time with insomnia, and I used GHB and a substance that's similar called furanum dihydro, which is it's like a knockoff of it, and I used them like a shot to go to sleep to for a long time until I didn't. Sharon Clark says, I tried G once, threw up everywhere, and never again. You might want to talk to Johnny Scoble about that. Got a pretty funny story. Sorry, but yeah, I think, so this is what is alleged, all right? This is what is alleged currently, is that this guy he would go out, allegedly, KK would, that KK is Christine Coram, that's the right-hand man of Sean Combs. Allegedly, she would send the drug mule out to go procure all of the substances that were necessary for the freak-offs and for the everyday, because Diddy apparently did stuff all day long, every day, right? Why was my dog given trazodone after her spade? I'm not. It's odd that they gave your dog trazodone. I don't know. Yeah, I can't answer that. I'm not really I'm no doctor. I'm no medic. All I know is what dope does to get you high. I'm just a drug addict. This has been very effective for a lot of people, and for some it is not. And it's a crapshoot. If you're struggling, I would suggest that you be willing to go and talk to them as much as possible, them being doctors and people in the medical community, to see if it's going to be a fit for you. It is a pretty rugged drug. So you have to make sure that you're doing it in the proper hands. If you are not, or if you are very susceptible to drug abuse, obviously what happened to Matthew Perry is an extreme example, but people got him a lot of that drug and you saw what it did. Chris and Melinda, I hope you are feeling better after your surgery. And I think I saw my friend, Tony Suter. If I did, Tony Suter, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Tony Suter. Happy birthday to you. I swore I'd never do that again. But Tony Suter is a friend. Happy birthday, Tony Suter. Thanks for all you do. I appreciate you. You know what, Wharton Thistle? You are not called, right? You're not called to be perfect. You're called to be good, right? And I'm not being religious. I'm talking about as a human being. You don't have to be good at everything you try to do. And sometimes people can't be helped. But when you reach out and make that effort, Wharton Thistle, I think you've already won. And you know how many times I have done something and I've gone and tried to help somebody and did everything, gone out of my way and talked to them and gone, what a waste of my effing time to have the person call me 4 months later and say, hey, bro, remember that talk we had? We plant seeds. We throw them out, and a lot of times they don't come in, right? This is what I do in life. But when they come in, God, what a payout. You're welcome, Tony Suter. I'm glad you were still here. I would have been really bummed out if I sung that to no one. You've missed a few lives lately. Well, we'll let that slide. So make sure, people, that 10 minutes after the hour of 1 on the California side of the planet. So basically in about 20 minutes, right? In about 20 minutes, I am going live on the Relatable Reese channel. It's my girlfriend's show. Thank you, Jason P. You want to make sure that you go over there and check this out, people. This is going to be telling you what happened in Vegas. So this is going to be a very big deal. And I do want everybody to stop by. You will thank me. I promise you. Was it really a 5-hour drive from where she lived to the after party? If so, and she snuck out, how does her dad not remember the night his daughter went missing for at least 5 hours? The last thing in the entire world I want to do is disrespect anybody that I have not met. But I have done about 6 minutes worth of digging into this family. And without being disrespectful, there's an excellent chance this was a father whose daughter could have disappeared for 5 hours, right? Come back, not come back, and he could have forgotten about it. This guy was not in a very good place in his life at the time that this was happening. I'll leave it at that. And I will say this, again, opinion, and don't throw rocks at me, but I don't think this cat was Father of the Year material. Feel me? Truthfully, he was not in a great place. I'm not sure he's in a great place now. Chris says you don't always got to be right. Just be righteous. Yeah, there's a lot to it, man. There's a lot to it. Some parents suck at parenting and some don't care. It's a sad reality. There's a lot of truth to that. Elena Flockaswan votes. 12 midnight there in Turkey. Thank you for joining us from Turkey. Do me a favor, because we're coming to the end of this, Saba. Make sure you get over to Relatable Reese. I don't think you're going to want to miss this. Do I prefer my time zone or Reese's? I prefer Reese being in my time zone. I don't know if that was the right answer, but I prefer Reese being in my time zone. I think that's I don't mind the time zones differences. There are benefits to both. I like when I'm streaming, the time when I'm in Bug Tussle, it's way more convenient to stream at those times than it is here. Here it ends up keeping me the times are just a lot different. I would prefer it there, but all right, peeps. Here's the deal. Quick wrap up. There are 3 brothers, the Alexander brothers, American Jews. I mention this because one of the reasons that they are being kept in federal custody, awaiting for their human T case. Sound familiar? Yeah, exact same charge as Diddy. One of Diddy's charge. They're not RICO'd, right? And they're not getting, the other thing that Diddy has on there was he was flying sex workers around and paying them. These people weren't doing that. They were flying victims around and R'ing them and taking turns and filming it. One of the most disturbing things about this case, when you begin to start looking through the text messages, one of them says, you got the drugs, you got the cameras, right? You got the film crew. Like they were filming all of these assaults. And this again is a recurring theme. And there is somebody that sent me an email and it scared the hell out of me. And I didn't want to, honestly, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I'm just going to throw this out here because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But I had a fan member. People love it when I say that, by the way. This person is not a subscriber. If you're a subscriber to this channel, I appreciate you. If you don't hit subscribe, I consider you a fan. You're swinging by. You're certainly not family. But this person emailed me a link, right, to an instructions on how to go to a place by using the Onion router and doing some stuff so that you can purchase this kind of pornography. I think, and you know what? I hope I'm proven wrong. You hear me? I hope I'm proven wrong. But I believe that these guys, all of them, are not filming this stuff just to blackmail people. They're not filming this just for their entertainment. There is a group of sick SOBs out there that buy this kind of content. And I think this stuff is being created on two levels. I think that you can buy this and they're random run-of-the-mill people that they're assaulting. And then I think that there is a genre for rich people who are being treated this way unconscious. You'd really like to believe you were wrong about something like this. You'd really like to believe that there's no chance that that could be real. But I'm almost 100% convinced that that's exactly what we're looking at in this case. I think that there's a really good chance that there are people out there that probably have a library. You know, I'm throwing names out. Don't know necessarily we know that any of these people. We just know they attended parties. But what if there are people out there that have a Britney Spears or who else do you want to get? Justin Bieber? We can get you a Justin Bieber. Who knows? You realize that there are a lot of really sick people with way too much money. If the Alexanders, right, and Diddy and allegedly maybe Sean Carter, right? Or how about the guy from Abercrombie and Fitch? 2024 is hammering it home, isn't it? It's getting to be pretty damn obvious, people, that the longer we do this, the more we realize just how many really sick. Get that info to Ron, bro. He could possibly deep dive and shut. All right. Thank you, James Collins Cares. Hey, you redid your avatar. I like it. Funny. Yeah. Really creepy stuff, people. Speaking of creepy stuff, I'll see you at 10 minutes after the hour of 2, correct?
Yeah, guys, come over. We have some things to share, and I think it's going to be, like I said, a good time. But we really do have some interesting details on this one. And
this isn't the end of the story either, which is kind of crazy. This is actually the beginning of the story.
Yeah, it's wild though. We had a wild time.
Not
just alone.
Yep. You know what? I love that. Hopefully we as humans can start changing the ugliness. It's time to become the iceberg, people.
See you guys there.
Time to become the iceberg. We'll see you shortly over on Relatable Reese. I am the Admiral. Between now and the next time we see each other, you know what to do. Reach out and try to save somebody. Have a great day.